What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of El Jardín Perdido. Today, we're grafting cactus. Alright guys, so I'm filming in my living room today because this was kind of a spur of the moment thing. Somewhat time sensitive, I'll explain later. But yes, I got some different cacti in the mail. And as compensation, I got 2 of these Bolivian torch cactus, or cacti, because what happened was, during that last freeze, I got a shipment from Europe, specifically Spain, for some Bolivian torch, some San Pedro, and Peruvian torch. Unfortunately, the Peruvian torch died. He didn't have any left, so he gave me 2 Bolivian torches. They're tiny. I'm going to show you guys in just a sec. And so my plan here is, this is actually 2. I'll give you a close-up in just a sec, but I plan on grafting onto my Peruvian apple. You guys have seen this cutting from a previous video if you tune in often. And so you'll see that it's cut on top here. That's because I did a quick attempt to actually try to graft on a tiny little peyote seedling. And yeah, it was like ridiculous me even trying because it was just too small. I really wanted to accelerate the growth, so that's why I did that. But this thing was tiny. It was fumbling around. I checked it out after placing it the next day and it just didn't look right, so I just called it quits. But this is a lot more viable. Let me show you guys. I'm going to do a little opening here. And I guess I'll look at them both first to see which one might be a better candidate. Both have really good roots. And actually one looks a lot better than the other one. Alright, so if you can see these 2, this one, it's not looking so great. It looks a little better on top. This one I think I'd rather plant in the ground, better security. This one, it's not only the shape is bad, but I think I'm just going to cut it off here and use the girth here to, yeah, so it's a great candidate. It does have really good roots though. Alright, so this wonky one is the one we're going to go with. So as far as supplies, you'll want some isopropyl alcohol, 70%. Some kind of a sharp blade. I'm just going to use a box cutter and take off the blade there. Some saran wrap. And, paper towel or rag or something to wipe with. And I have a number of different rubber bands here. I'm going to see which one fits around when the time comes, fits around the best, the tightest, without constricting too much. So that's the plan. All right, so I guess for the actual grafting, I'll bring you guys in closer and kind of do an aerial thing and talk you guys through it. Okay, so I've got a few of my other materials on the side here. Got a nice aerial view. I'm gonna try to center this up a little more for you guys. All right, so I adjusted the angle just a tiny bit. So hopefully that caters a little better. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the blade here from the box cutter. I did use this same blade previously on the same graft, but everything should be fine. I'm gonna douse that paper towel. Just give this a good wipe. Okay, so the Peruvian torch is pretty tough to get through. If you guys will see, I basically took it off right across here, but then I went down the ribs and I took those down. The reason for that is it's already drying, as you can see, but if I cut straight across, it'll kind of curl up on the edges and push out the contact, which we need right in the center there. So I'm basically going to make these cuts one more time. Give this a nice fresh start here. Yeah, it's a little tough working around the Peruvian apple. I'm just gonna cut down each rib. Now I'm gonna go straight across. And I'm gonna be a little more precise this time because as I'm looking at this, the angle seemed a little bit off, and that could have been from it drying, but there we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that really well. And I might take down the ribs just a tiny bit more. Okay, so now hopefully this isn't too dried out. I know shipping took a while, all the way from Europe. The good thing is I can still plant this either way, even if I cut it. I know it's kind of young, but yeah, so I'm gonna take it a little further up here. And we're just gonna slice straight down. Yeah, it's pretty quickly. Not as bad as the Peruvian. I'll put that to the side there. Clean that up a little bit. I'm actually gonna use the paper towel because getting stuck quite a bit. Clean up that cut just a tiny bit. Basically, you'll see right in the center there, you want the two centers to almost line up. I've heard from someone else that you almost want to stagger them slightly, kind of like two rings like that, rather than completely on each other. So I'm going to give that a try. And I'm just kind of getting that goo on there really good. And it almost kind of binds to it because of all the, kind of like aloe vera gel, if you've ever cut into a cactus. All right, so now that we have that in place, I'm gonna grab some of my saran. I'm actually gonna fold it over. Actually, I'm gonna fold it over a couple times here. Give it some strength. It's not gonna be crazy sticky or anything, that's fine. And I have my rubber band on standby here. And we're gonna wrap this a few times with the saran, but I want that initial one to be really solid. We don't want this slipping too much. So I'm gonna kind of try to use the spikes. Pin it down, make sure it's right where I want it. We got another piece of saran wrap here. I'm gonna go on the other side across and do the same thing. I could probably almost get away with just using the prickers here. And I'm just making sure that everything's still in good contact. And just to keep that moisture there, first I'll go ahead and wrap. Let me see which rubber band I like better. I think just one of these thinner rubber bands. Sorry guys, I'm getting pricked like crazy. Just to kind of hold things in place. And I'm actually going to just reinforce the top here to retain as much moisture as I can in there. At least initially, for the first week, I'm probably going to keep that on there. So I think I'm going to keep this on for a couple of days, and then after a little bit, take that off after I know it's had good contact and everything, the top layer. The sides I'll probably leave on a little bit longer. Okay guys, so we're back 3 weeks later, and it's only been 3 weeks because I will admittedly say the first trial didn't work as well as I thought it would. The graft did have a tiny union, but really I didn't think it was strong enough. So after 2 weeks and that kind of healing, I went ahead and made fresh cuts on the scion and the rootstock, and I made a more appropriate graft literally touching the circumference of the cambium of both stems of the plant. So as you guys can see here, I'm not going to, I can tap it, show you that it's sturdy, put it on its side. It's not really held on by anything, but it's been a solid week of this, and I've since taken off the cellophane just now. And so what I'm gonna do is keep this in shade for another week and slowly start migrating it out towards partial sun, and then eventually when that gets a little more girth, it looks a little healthier, I'll put it in full sun. So yeah, I would probably wait a solid week, if not 2 weeks, if you want to be safe. Make sure there's plenty of moisture in there with the cellophane. Keep it in good condition so it doesn't dry out in the union there. But yeah, looks like a success over here on this one. All right guys, well that's going to do it for today's video. Be sure and comment below if you have any additional information or questions. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't by now. I do have a lot of projects of this nature and some upcoming projects like grafting on some dragon fruit. All right, well that's gonna do it for today's video. As always, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.